Hi, I'm Gift Constable, and welcome. I'm doing these little op-eds each week now on product and innovation topics. This week's topic came from one of Andrew Chen's emails. I don't know if you know Andrew. Many of you probably do in the product and entrepreneurship space. He's now well known as a venture capitalist at Andreessen Horowitz. He and I overlapped in the mid 2000s when I was in the virtual world space. And he was also in the online gaming space before he went on to Uber and other places. And I got to sort of know and respect him as a fellow blogger and entrepreneur, and I've followed him ever since. So Andrew shared this email in his newsletter 2 weeks ago on growth hacking, and there was this quote that popped out in that email that I wanted to share with you. And he was talking about things that surprised him as he looked back on 10 years of growth hacking. And he said, for startups, it turns out that you can't A/B test your way to product market fit, right? You don't have enough users to generate statistically significant data, and the changes you need to make in your product are often big, not small. Completely true. I'm not sure that I believe that Andrew believed that you could A/B test your way to sort of product problem solution market fit as either an entrepreneur working on something inside a large company or as an entrepreneur with a new startup. It's A/B testing is not a great tool for that. As Andrew says, one, your sample sizes are really small, but the other is like that's not where the big aha moments come from. The big aha moments come from listening to people and watching them in action. And it's that non-scalable, really qualitative work where the light bulbs go off, right? You have to remember as an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur, remember Steve Blank's line from a number of years back where he said that startups, and I'm going to include intrapreneurs as well. Startups are not small versions of large companies, right? It's a temporary organization that's searching. You're searching for a repeatable and scalable business model. And once you have that, then you can scale and turn into a non-startup. Uh, and so that's a very liberating concept and very key to remembering. Like at the beginning, you're in hunt mode, and little tweaks won't help you. It's you gotta go deep with people to get the big insights. Now I'm going to talk about a number of research tools that you can use and why. But it's not that A/B testing doesn't have a place early on. Where is it useful, right? It is useful when you want to test out, am I getting my value proposition across, right? Have I designed something where people get what I'm trying to do, they get why, and it's resonating with them? So yes, you can A/B test landing pages, not again for trying to find product market fit, but just to figure out like, am I getting in my own way, right? What's the most effective way to get the value prop across so that people convert, right? You can A/B test on usability. You can A/B test people's ability to discover a feature within your product. You can A/B test their ability to complete a job, a task, to accomplish their goal within your product. But that's kind of about where A/B testing can get you early on. Now, there's a bunch of different research techniques that are useful, and you kind of want to be able to use all of them, right? Each tool in your research toolkit, like it does a certain job, and you want to use the right one for the job you're trying to do. Here's a little slide that I created a little bit ago to try to make this stuff clear, right? If you are trying to get objective information about past behavior, if you have access to quantitative historical data sets, then use that. That's going to be, as long as it's clean data, that's going to give you very clear, objective evidence about past behavior. Not every entrepreneur or entrepreneur has access to that. If you are trying to get sort of at more scale than you can get with one-on-one interviews, if you're trying to get objective information about past behavior. Uh, has someone done something in past? How many times a week did they do that thing? How much money do they spend on average? As long as you're asking relatively objective questions, surveys can be a relatively good tool, but don't overuse surveys. Don't hide from the customer behind surveys because surveys are not good at helping you understand people's emotional and psychological state, right? They're just better at letting you know whether or not something happened. If you want to get access to how people thought about a problem, whether they were frustrated or excited, what they tried to do, if and have those opportunities to be a detective, to be a sleuth, to ask those follow-on questions and really go deep, interviews are your tool of choice. Whether it's just you one-on-one with somebody or whether you have a note taker with you, but you're not, these aren't focus groups. This is you talking and listening deeply to someone about how they've done things in the past. Okay. So, and in my experience, after having done both a ton of startups and when I was running Neo, helping basically many large companies try to innovate new digital products and business models, your biggest aha moments, your biggest insights are going to come from these qualitative interviews. So don't hide from them. You've got to make yourself do them. Okay. Next, if you have an opportunity to observe people in action, trying to accomplish a goal, that is priceless, and take advantage of it. Whether it's shadowing them as they shop, whether it's, I remember at Neo, David Bland had an experiment that he was running when he was doing some innovation. He was a colleague of mine at Neo. He was running doing some innovation work for Toyota, and they went to gas stations and they watched people pump gas, and then they went up and they spoke to them and asked questions. But if you have an opportunity to watch someone in action, take advantage of it. Like, try to make that happen. You can't always get permission. So this isn't always a tool that's available to everybody, but if it is, do use it, because you will get really interesting insights. Just remember, what people say is not what they do. And so if you get a chance to watch what people do, like, take it, take it. And then the last one, sort of what you see on this at the bottom, is if you want to predict people's behavior in the future. So new behaviors. And so again, what people say is not what they're what they do. What they've done in the past is not what they're necessarily gonna do in the future. And by far, the very best way to approach sort of understanding, being able to predict new behaviors is experiments, where you set up an experience of some kind and you measure their behavior, you watch their behavior. Ideally, you pair experiments with interviews at the same time, like watch and measure the behavior, but then go ask them questions about what they were going through as they were trying to accomplish their goal. Those two things pair really well. It's no accident that for the two books that I wrote on innovation, Talking to Humans and Testing with Humans, one's on qualitative research interviews and one's on experiments, because those two things go hand in hand really, really well. So that's the key stuff that I wanted to get across today on this little thought bubble that emerged when I was surprised to see Andrew sort of say he'd hoped that startups would be able to A/B test their way to product market fit, and I was like, I'm not so sure that you really did. And the key thing is you can't. Don't hide behind your product. Don't hide behind surveys. You got to get out in front. You got to talk to real people. You got to listen. You got to ask these questions. All of these tools have a place, including A/B testing, but you got to use them for the right job. If you use the wrong tool with the wrong job, you can't believe the data that's coming in, and you won't be able to make good decisions. All right, that's the end of my op-ed. I'll have a new one coming out next week. For those of you who are interested on Maven, I'm about to kick off a new financial fluency for product leaders. And in September, the product leadership role play class is going to kick off as well. So those two things are up and running. All right, that's it for today. I'll see you next time.